Good morning, everybody. So with today's video, top 10 designer spring fragrances for 2025. With this list here, I really want to bring my A game, so I'm actually looking at the side, and a lot of these fragrances don't get a lot of mention, so I really want to give you guys something different. There may be one or two that might be a little bit more commercial. At number 10, number one, not in any numerical order, is going to be Bottega Veneta Illusione for him, launched in 2019. This is a very masculine fragrance because it has a lot of woods of vetiver, which is definitely there. You're going to get balsam fir along with white cedar extract. What it pretty much is, just, I find it's more balsam fir and vetiver than the cedar itself, but there is going to be like lemon and I believe bitter orange, and I'm not sure if musk is in it, but there is this woody muskiness towards the base. Woods is going to be the main component. You do get the citruses in the opening, but the woods come in real quick. This fragrance for me is old school masculinity. You know, back in the day when they knew how to dress better than how we do now, but at the same time, they were also tougher. They were gentlemen, but they knew how to throw down. That is what this fragrance here. Very versatile, very signature scent worthy. Next 10 is going to be another gentleman's fragrance, and that's going to be Bvlgari Man Rain Essence. This here, what makes this very gently is that there is a floral component and it's actually quite musky. The floral itself is going to be white lotus, but there is green tea, there is orange, amber, guaiac wood, and of course musk. So musky, then it's floral with green tea, then I would say it's like citrus with maybe a little bit of woods. There is this powdery undertone. It's not overly powdery, but there is a little bit of that there. And at the same time, it feels like it kind of reminds me of like a bit of a wet sidewalk. So after it rains and it starts to dry down, you know how you get that aroma? It kind of has that vibe to me. This for me is very gentlemanly. This is great like white t-shirt and jeans, but like suit and tie, business casual, even a tuxedo. Just, it's that versatile. Next one was actually launched in 2010, and this is also a gentlemanly fragrance. Well, it has the name Gentleman in it, and that's going to be Dolce Gabbana The One. Gentleman. A lot of people say that this is discontinued, but the thing is though, I see this online still. Like, I don't know if they still sell it retail at the HBC. I don't think that they do, and I doubt that they would sell this at Macy's, but you do get this online, like I think it was FragranceNet and as well PerfumeOnline.ca. But this does have that old school vibe, but it has this modern touch as well. You're gonna get spices of cardamom and pepper. There is watercress, lavender, vanilla, and patchouli. So it does have this fresh barbershop-ish vibe from the lavender, and maybe that watercress in some ways. Because to me, it feels like there's a little bit of a green herbal tone to it. Not all that there, but like a little bit. See, generally when it comes to like barbershop fragrances, lavender is definitely a note, but sometimes I feel like there's like rosemary or even basil that can kind of give off this old school barbershop vibe. This is great all around. This, I would say, is probably, this is a little bit more fun than the other two fragrances in this video, just because of that vanilla. The vanilla is not very pronounced. It's more in the backseat, just, you know, just in the backseat, enjoying its ride. But it's just, it's not shouting, it's not causing a ruckus. It's just, you know, it's a gentleman's fragrance, right? But it does add a little something different to the scent. Next one was also launched in 2010, and this is not your typical fragrance from this lineup. Boss Bottled Night from Hugo Boss. This is not exactly what I would call mass appealing. A lot of the other fragrances from this lineup, such as the regular Boss Bottle, but you got like Sport, Tonic, the Intense, there is, my goodness, like the Parfum. So there is a lot of flankers over the years. Minus the newer ones like the Elixir and the Elixir Absolute, they are just super in your face manly. This is masculine, but it's that old school masculinity because it is a gentleman's fragrance with the violet. The violet does add this powdery tone. You do get lavender, birch, along with musk. So it's musky, powdery, fresh with birch. So definitely not like your typical other Boss fragrances out there. And I like this one. I'm at a different stage in my life where I'm just finally like I'm growing, I'm maturing. I will always be the goofy dad of Fragcom. I will always be that. But I feel like I have really matured in the last couple years, because before I really would not have liked something like this, but now I do. Next one was launched in 2006, and this was more the mainstream popular ones back in the day. Not so much now. It still has a bit of a cult following, and I get it. YSL L'Homme, launched in 2006. This is the original because there are so many flankers to this one here. I remember this one being very gentlemanly. There is ginger, there is lemon, bergamot, violet leaf, basil, tonka bean, along with cedar and Tahitian vetiver. I could remember that there was like iris or something like that. Like, I might be completely wrong, but I feel like the note breakdown on Bottega is a little bit different from what I remember. But I do remember this clean florals. The citrus is definitely there. You do get the violet leaves and the ginger for sure. That I remember, but I remember this having some sort of like clean floral. I don't know. Maybe it's just my nose. Maybe it's just me from back, you know? But it definitely has this modern day gentleman feel. This was always a gentleman's fragrance from back in the day when it was first launched and really hyped to death, was talked about a lot, especially when I came into the community back in the day. This was very popular, and it wasn't because of me. It was actually because of the other guys and for the love that they had for this fragrance. And for me, this is dressing down like, you know, white t-shirt and jeans all the way to a suit and tie. Next fragrance is another gentlemanly fragrance. This entire video is pretty much that. It's all gentlemanly fragrances, and it's not even planned, but this one here most certainly is a gentleman fragrance, and it's not for everybody. Kenzo Power. Kenzo Power, the reason why that this is not for everybody is because it has florals. There is a lot of coriander, there is cardamom, there is lemon. I feel like I feel like it's lemon verbena and not lemon or bergamot, because it just, whatever citrus is, I believe it's bergamot, which it's there, but I feel like it's lemon verbena that really makes this one pop. And I've said that many times when I mention this one. But you also get like the floral touch. There is labdanum and I believe tolu balsam and cedar. Not exactly sure, but what it pretty much is for me, citruses with florals with the spices as the top. Then it's going to be the amber. Then it's going to be the, like, maybe some woods. This most certainly is not for everybody, and this is a brand that I've really been like enjoying. When it comes to designers, Kenzo is one that I've kind of taken a bit of a dive into. Montal is like the brand that I've really just taken a really deep dive, but that's more of a niche brand. But this one here just has this mature, and I gotta be honest, a little bit of an older woman's vibe, yet I like it because there is this clean, soapy, floral aspect. Next fragrance, this is one of the older ones in this list, and no, it's not the oldest one. There is actually one more that's older by 3 years, but this one was launched in 1996. Bvlgari Put On. This is a great fragrance for the gentleman out there, like someone who's gentleman, like a little old school, but has a little bit of a like rugged feel, like old school masculinity. So, you know, when I think of old school masculinity, I think of, let's say, Peaky Blinders, Thomas Shelby, which he is definitely not. He's not the gentleman, but he knows how to dress like a gentleman. He knows how to fight. But this just has this gentlemanly aspect to it as well, because there is tea, there's also a lot of woods, vetiver, cedar, Brazilian rosewood, there is guaiac wood, oak moss, there is aldehyde, citrus, coriander, cyclamen, musk, orange blossom. Like, there's a lot going on. A lot of these 90s fragrances, it seems like they just threw everything at the wall just to see what would stick, because a lot of these modern day fragrances, they don't have like 12 to 30 notes like some of these 90 fragrances really do. Like some of these newer ones, they do have like 10 to 12, but like some of these 90 fragrances, they got like 15 to 25, sometimes a little bit more. There's just so much going on. But for me, it's just very woody. It is aromatic. It is like you get this green tea, and there is a little bit of muskiness to it. The florals I don't really get, but this is just a great scent. I wish I had like the Intense, and I believe it's the put Suave, which those are all discontinued and kind of, but like, you can actually get this for a fairly reasonable price tag, and it's actually quite versatile. Next one is definitely going to be one of the more mainstream ones, and that is going to be YSL MYSLF. So launched in 2023. So there is a newer one. It is the Intense, or the Le Parfum. I'm not sure. I got a decant of it someplace, but I just can't find it. This one, I said it was a masterpiece. Well, I kind of have to take that back. It's not a masterpiece, but it definitely is really good. It is mass appealing, but at the same time, it's not going to be for everybody. These are very generally, I find that what YSL puts out, they are generally of quality, and they're not like juvenile, they're not overly sweet, they're not like, I don't want to say douchey, but they generally have a certain level of class to their fragrances, and I will stand by that. There is Calabrian Bergamot, there is Tunisian Orange Blossom along with Patchouli, and a lot of ambroxan. So definitely a lot of ambroxan with the citrus. Then it's going to be the Tunisian Orange Blossom, or just Orange Blossom. But the backbone is going to be that patchouli. If the patchouli wasn't there, this would not last more than 3 hours. Longevity off this is not great to begin with. You're going to get about 5-6 hours, might be pushing it. I get about 6 to 7, but in all honesty, like in all fairness, when it comes to spraying, I don't do it out here. Like out here, I do it like close to here. So you get a little bit more of an oily sheen. So it's a little bit more concentrated. But this is definitely one of the more commercial ones in this video. And it's actually pretty versatile. Dressing it down, white t-shirt and jeans, all the way to a tuxedo. Next fragrance is going to be Givenchy Gentleman. But this is going to be the 2017 edition. This is actually quite nice. And I'm going to say this is maybe a little bit more playful than some of the other fragrances in this list. Now, you do get a very nice juicy pear note, along with that lavender, that typical iris that so many fragrances from this line does have, and that iris does add this powdery touch. There's also going to be some cardamom, some vanilla, patchouli, and there's going to be leather. I don't really get the leather. I do get the pear, the cardamom, the iris, of course, but I also get the lavender, that patchouli with a little bit of vanilla. So definitely one of the more playful, one of the more fun fragrances in this list, but it is classy. I think that this is like college all the way to an older guy out there, and if you're looking for just one fragrance that's like versatile, like these are all versatile, but if you want something that's maybe a little bit more fun, go with this one here. And performance is not bad neither. You're gonna get about 7 hours. And last but not least, I wish I kept my bottle, but I do have one now because of Cody Drakdok. I wish that he would come back. I wish that some of these older guys would come back, as I prefer the community of yesteryear. There's nothing wrong with these, hey listen, if you're an influencer who's watching, you're making money, keep doing your thing. I just prefer the community of yesteryear because it was more genuine. I find that a lot of the people weren't trying to sell you anything. It was just more about the love of this stuff. And it's just, people were friendlier with one another. And this fragrance reminds me of back then because it is older. Chanel Platinum Egoiste. This is very gentleman, old school. Oh yeah. This has lavender, rosemary, geranium, clary sage, galbanum, jasmine, oak moss, vetiver, cedar, sandalwood, and so on. This for me is, yeah, you definitely get the oak moss, you get the geranium, the lavender, maybe that a little bit of that clary sage, because there is definitely this old school touch, and some of those notes such as geranium, lavender, clary sage, oak moss, those are old school notes, old fashioned notes. This definitely has that old school DNA. I find, yes, it is vintage, but it may not appeal to a lot of people now, like just like the masses, but back in the day, it certainly did. So I kind of feel like this fragrance, it's a modern day classic, but this was perfumery, back in the day. This will never go out of style for me, and I'm glad I got it in my collection. What Chanel puts out is of quality. This is super versatile. This And not because of the smell or the year itself that it was released, but I just feel like this will resonate more with the older guy out there. And guys, top 10 designer spring fragrances for 2025. Again, any reviews that I've done on these fragrances, they will all be in the description box below. If you like this very list and this video, please drop me one of these. What videos to watch next? Well, why don't you see years prior of top spring fragrances? Might get a top 5, might get a top 10. And you know what? I might even throw in a mixture. I might even do a smaller rate. So whatever is there. Guys, I thank you for my time. Take care. And I will see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.